The American retirement crisis and how to escape it. Look, here is the truth that absolutely nobody is talking about right now. And imagine grinding away at a job for 40 years, giving it your all, only to cross the finish line completely broke. Sadly, that's not just a bad dream. That is the terrifying reality for millions of Americans right now. Let's just dive right into the numbers.
Brace yourself, because this number should literally shock you to your core. 56%. More than half of all the people you see walking around today have less than $10,000 saved up for retirement. I mean, really let that sink in for a second. Less than 10 grand? If the transmission on your car blows or you have one unexpected medical emergency, poof, that money is gone in a flash. We are talking about millions of working professionals who are quite literally one bad month away from total financial ruin, with absolute zero safety net waiting for them in the future. Now contrast that 56% with this massive reality check. Financial experts are sounding the alarm across the board. They're looking at the raw math, and they're telling us that just to maintain a basic, totally average, comfortable lifestyle when you finally stop working, you need at least $1 million to $1.5 million saved. That's the real target. That is what it actually costs to survive for decades without a paycheck in today's economy.
But drop the hammer, here is what the average American actually has saved by the time they hit retirement age. $87,000. Are you kidding me? Just look at the massive gap between what you actually need and what people are actually holding. 87 grand is not going to last you 3 years, let alone a 30-year retirement. It is literally a mathematical impossibility to live off of this.
And look, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. Well, what about the government? What about Social Security? I've been paying into it my entire life. Please, do not count on a totally broken system to swoop in and save you. The average Social Security check right now, it's about $1,900 a month. Just look around. With inflation completely out of control, astronomical rent prices, insane gas and grocery bills, $1,900 a month is barely survival money. It's poverty level. The safety net that was promised to you, the one specifically designed to protect you in old age, is completely failing you.
Section 2. Why the system is broken. Look, if you constantly feel like you're working harder than ever before and getting absolutely nowhere, trust me, it is not in your head. Let's break down exactly why working hard just isn't cutting it anymore.
Reason number 1. Since 1970, worker productivity in America has skyrocketed by over 60%. Think about that. We are producing more, working way faster, and grinding harder than literally any generation before us. But your wages? Yeah, they've practically flatlined. They have barely moved an inch when you adjust them for inflation. So you were putting in 60% more output, but your bank account, it isn't seeing a single dime of that extra value. The money is simply not following the hard work anymore.
And while your paycheck is staying exactly the same year after year, look at what is happening to the sheer cost of keeping a roof over your head. A 400% explosion in housing costs over the last 30 years? This right here is why saving feels impossible. You aren't bad with money. Your basic human need for shelter is just completely eating your paycheck alive before you even have a chance to think about saving for tomorrow. But hey, it doesn't stop there. It's like a rapid-fire assault on your wallet. Getting sick today, it is 3 times more expensive than it was in 1990. These relentless, totally unavoidable expenses are just draining everything you earn. Every single time you get a tiny step ahead, another massive bill swoops in and drags you right back down to zero.
And then, oh man, then there's this. The absolute anchor around the necks of young professionals right now. $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. You were told your whole life to go to college to get a good job, and instead you were handed a mortgage-sized debt before you even earned your first real paycheck. When your rent, your healthcare, and your student loan payments are eating up 95% of your income, investing for retirement isn't just hard, it feels like an absolute joke.
But here is the part that really stings, and we need to be honest about it. On top of all these systemic issues, you are very likely making massive financial mistakes that you don't even know you're making. And why? Because the school system utterly failed you. They happily taught you the Pythagorean theorem, but they totally skipped personal finance. And they didn't teach your parents either. So you end up taking whatever tiny bit of money you do have left and buying liabilities, stuff that just loses value, truly believing that they're assets. You end up completely trapped in the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, totally blind to how money actually works.
Which leads us directly into the biggest trap of all, the default life plan. You know the drill. Go to school, Get a job, buy a house, have kids, work for 40 straight years, and then retire at 65. It sounds totally logical, right? It's the American dream. Well, wrong. It's a trap. Because by the time you pay off that massive mortgage, pay to raise those kids, pay your crushing taxes, and cover all your daily living expenses, there is absolutely nothing left over to invest. And if you are incredibly lucky enough to scrape together a few bucks to throw into a 401k, inflation is just silently eating away at its purchasing power every single year.
I really need you to hear me on this one, and I want you to burn this quote into your mind. That era is gone. The default life plan was designed for a totally different universe, an era where a single income could literally buy a house and comfortably support a whole family, an era where companies actually gave you guaranteed, fully funded pensions. Look, that world is dead. It does not exist anymore. If you keep trying to play by this outdated playbook, relying on a 401k alone might totally fail you against today's inflation, and you are going to literally work until you drop dead.
Your escape plan. Now, the good news. You are officially ahead of 90% of the population just by seeking out and watching this explainer. Here is your actual playbook to break free. Step 1. You have to start investing right now, even if it feels ridiculously small. I'm talking just $100 a month. That's literally just skipping one nice dinner out. If you start investing that at age 25, thanks to the sheer explosive power of compound interest, it can actually grow to over $350,000 by the time you retire. Time is your absolute most powerful weapon against this broken system. Stop waiting until you magically make more money to start investing. Start right today.
Step 2, and this is the ultimate escape hatch from working until death. You must build multiple income streams. Relying on one job and one salary, that is just a single income stream, and it leaves you so incredibly vulnerable. Do you have any idea how many income streams the wealthy usually have? 5, 6, 7. They have dividends paying them while they sleep. They have real estate, side businesses, online income. Look, you don't have to launch all of these tomorrow morning, but you absolutely have to start building more than just your 9-to-5 job. You just cannot rely on a single point of failure anymore.
And step 3. The real shift has to happen right between your ears. You have to kill the employee mindset. An employee takes their hard-earned money and sticks it in the traditional bank account, earning a pathetic 0.5% interest, basically letting inflation rot it away. But the investor mindset? A true investor looks at every single dollar that comes into their hands and asks a ruthless question: how can I make this dollar go out and recruit more dollars? That right there is how real wealth is built, not by hoarding your cash, but by deploying it like an army.
Okay, let's lock this in. These are the actionable steps you need to execute immediately. Start investing early so you can actually capture that compound interest. Build multiple income streams so you aren't held hostage by a single employer. Change your psychology and start thinking like a ruthless investor. And above all else, educate yourself constantly. The absolute best investment you can ever make, the one thing inflation cannot touch and absolutely no one can tax, is your own financial education. Consume books, study explainers exactly like this one, and listen to financial podcasts obsessively.
So, I am going to leave you with this final massive question today. Will you just follow the default plan? Will you just put your head down, accept those stagnant wages, drown in living costs, and blindly hope a totally broken system catches you when you're 65? Or will you wake up right now, seek out real financial education, and build your own escape route? The retirement crisis is very real, but your participation in it is completely optional. The rules of wealth really aren't a secret, they just aren't taught in school. Start building your multiple streams of income today, take full control of your financial destiny, and flat out refuse to work until the day you die.